Good evening. Markets just closed a few minutes ago, and I'm just going to recap today's trade. One trade only. In fact, I didn't take any trade until an alert triggered. I'm just going to open up my drawing pen. So I had a couple of alerts set for today. If you tuned into the live video at 9 AM Eastern time, you would see that I had this area here set for an alert, which has not been triggered, and that is at 47.58. And I had this area here, I had set an alert on the horizontal line, and that was based on the bottom of that candle, top of that candle, and this area of confluence, bottoms of candles, tops of candles. And we had a bit of consolidation before we broke out, retested it, and tops of candles. So quite a significant area, in my opinion. And so you can see that is my trigger there, and I waited for confirmation. It came up. I will go into the 5-minute chart in a second. It pushed up through my trigger. Bear in mind, as I always say, the lines are not lines in the sand, but it's an area to watch for. So I was kind of watching that area, trying to wait for my trade. And this was at 2 PM. I'm just trying to work out what time. I'll find it on my 5-minute chart. So the trigger fired today at 1 PM. So it was a 1 PM, just before 1. So I waited from 9:30. I wasn't tempted to take any trade, even though I was thinking we might go long there, but I stuck with my plan, and we broke out, came back, broke out. Didn't have any FOMO today. In fact, I didn't care what the market was doing. I only had my one or two levels I was watching for today, and that was it. So 9:30. So I waited. Trigger came in, and find my trigger here. Came up, and as it was coming back down, I went short at 48.02 was my average price there. I just took one contract. That's it, and I had other things to do today. Wasn't a great day as well. Personally, one of my friends passed away, so wasn't in the right frame of mind for trading. And while I was at the hospital today, waiting around, I took my yearly, annual, monthly, and weekly, my daily, weekly, monthly, and annual goals with me, and I kind of refined them a little bit. And I was trying to. One of my goals is to get better entries, and I wanted to focus on better entries and better exits. I'll be honest, I failed on the exit today, but I did nail the entry, kind of nailed it. So my entry was there, and I got in with one contract. That was my starter position, and had it come back in for a double top, I would have gone for a second entry. Or had it come down, broke, retested that area, I would have gone in. But I had to go out, and I had some stuff to do with the scouts tonight. So my entry was there, my stop was there with that one. So my entry is there, my stop was just above. I kept it quite tight, just 2 ticks above the high of the day, and I just let it run. I was gonna leave it to the end of day to get an end of day, or if it got down to VWAP, I would hit my alert. But it didn't come down. It came down, and it came back up. And you know what? I watched it come up. I was about here when I saw it, and I thought, I'm gonna get out and break even. And in the end, I said, rather than break even, I'll get out for a little bit of profit. So I got out for a bit of profit. About here, it wasn't much, considering I missed the meat of the move. And then I had instant regret. I thought, you know what, I don't really want to be taking it for profit there. My stop's up there anyway. I saw volume come in and topping tails, and I saw a bit of decline in volume as well on this pullback. So I got back in at my exact entry I got out, so I was back in there. So original position, I got out there, got back in there, and then I just let it run. And my out was here. 200 moving average I got out on, and I was going to hold it, but I wasn't actually in front of my computer. I got out using my mobile phone, and I thought, take profit. It's a decent day. Trading it over 14 apex accounts. So, and that's a decent move. If you spread the risk out over 14 accounts, you can, you know, it's pretty green, pretty decent day. And that was one trade. So, technically 2 trades, but I'm going to count it as 1 trade. But the important thing is I was patient. I didn't go long or short when other people who I was trading with were trading. I just held. I saw this inverse head and shoulders setting up, and it was okay. I didn't quite like it. The reason I didn't like it was because it didn't really break that neckline and come back and retest it. So there was really no entry for me. You could argue that it had that shaped neckline. Maybe that's probably, you can see the break. Oh, it hasn't really broken it though. It just consolidated and just broke out. I couldn't really find an entry, and one of my goals for the month is not to force entries and not to try and find entries for the sake of it, and not get into a trade which is against my plan or not in my plan. And I'll just put my plan, if I've got my plan somewhere. Look at that. Why is that? So while that's loading, okay, let's go into today, the 9th. So I'm just going to show you my plan for today. So here we go. So that's my day plan. And I said, oh God, I just want to clear. So I said I was watching that area for a bounce higher. So 47.58, which would have been around, I was off of the screen down below. That was my first bounce. So that was down here, 47.58 for a bounce higher, didn't happen. 47.98 to 4800. So 47.98, that line there, which I got alerted to 4800, this area here, for a higher probability rejection. And I had 48.20 up here, way up here, for a demand zone rejection. So that was my plan, and you can see the level was spot on. I know we poked through, and what really got my interest was the higher volume when we came in. So we had higher volume, and then we had even a bigger candle with more volume as well. That's kind of why I was kind of interested in this, and that's why I was confident we're going to make it. Also on the level 2 book map, I don't think you can see it on here, but we had lots of sellers. We had lots of sellers originally just there, and I mean lots of them. And then as soon as this triggered, it all dried up and all the selling was below. So there was no more liquidity above. So I had you know, it was, the move was in my favour to go down, and as you can see, that's exactly what it did. And you know, it did come back, and I got it there in the end, and it did consolidate for a bit. And you can see where we are now, 47.91. So decent trade. What could I have done to improve on it? Firstly, probably shouldn't have traded on a highly emotional day today, you know, with the loss of a friend. Probably should have walked away. Secondly, when I got into that, I treated it as a scalp rather than a proper trade. So I only got in with a small position, and it was against the trend, I know, but it was at one of my levels, you know, like the levels, even though it's not exactly at the top, it's to give me awareness of that would come to an area. And as I said earlier, it was this area I was watching, not the actual level. The level was just to tell me that it's time to sit up and pay attention. So that was my sitting up paying attention. Probably the less riskier trade would be in the break, pull back, and then break down. That around here, maybe the entry there, or entry on that pullback there. But you know, I play supply and demand and support and resistance zones, and getting in with an early entry with a small position is part of my plan. You know, I want to layer in and keep my stop tight, because I had a defined stop loss. It didn't matter, you know, that was my area. For example, if I was trying to play this trend, say I wanted to take the this long over here, and I just got in. I don't really have a defined sort of, I could have that as a stop loss. That's not a real meaningful area because it's such a big distance away. I could have kept it tight, and if I kept it tight, I would have been stopped out. So that's not really a very decent, meaningful area. could have played that area, but you know, you're just guessing. I'm only saying that on hindsight because I know it didn't get down there. So that is not considered a A+ setup, and also you'd be chasing. It would be wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, and you know, it's not very good. You know, the third wave you normally see a little bit of tiredness by that point. And I knew you could see tiredness because I saw the volume and the moving average was declining up here as well. And then when I saw this come in, big top, I waited for the next candle. I'll be honest with you, I would have taken it had it broken below there, but it came back up. I thought I'd just take a quick one there, and I was going to take another entry there, but I didn't. Probably fear of losing, even I had a defined stop, but also I wasn't quite thinking straight today. So maybe it's a good trade because I wasn't thinking straight, but I wasn't really thinking about adding. I didn't want to add. When we came here and I took profit there, I thought about adding at that point, but instead I took profit and a little tiny bit of profit, and then I had instant out regret. I call it out to regret, and I got back in again. I'm glad I did get back in because I wanted to continue this trade, because my entire goal earlier was to get down to the VWAP, and it would have got there had I just held it. So my other regret is just to stop tinkering with the trade, get into it, keep my stop where it is, and just let it play out. Had I just put my limit order on the VWAP, I would have got it anyway. Also, one of the other goals I was doing is refining my exits as well, not just my entries, my exits. And I quite clearly wrote down in it to honour moving averages and VWAPs, and I didn't today, so I need to work on that. And that's it. So one trade, or you call it 1.5 trade and 1.5 trade. But I'm sticking with a single trade. But the biggest victory today was not the trade and the decent move down it took based on the level. You know, the levels work. They always work. I sound like a smart ass by saying this, but I don't think I remember a day, not recently anyway, where one of my levels has not worked from my pre-market video. And yesterday it worked, day before it worked. Sometimes I don't make profit, but it's not down to the level, it's down to my entry or my or lack of treating my plan properly. But levels worked again today. You know, it came back into that area again for a second time, so we could have taken it a second time. I did take it for a second time. That's my pullback. But you know, that could have been a decent add, and we could have just played that. I think my issue today was really my exits, because in my goals I said I want to get out on meaningful areas, and that would have been moving averages and the VWAP, and then areas of support and resistance and pivots. So kind of these should have been my exits anyway. But anyway, I'm working on that. Still a decent day. I held too long. I should have been using that as an exit. The 50 should have been my exit. Maybe even, not sure about the sideways 200 movement, but definitely the upward trailing 50 moving out should have been an exit. But maybe because I only had one contract, I was probably trying to hold it, going for the home run, you know, low of the day or something. And I know that's how my brain is wired. I just want home runs, and that's what I'm waiting for. But it's not about trading home runs, it's about getting these little bits of the market. Don't worry about the rest of it. This is a big move up. You know, I took what I wanted. I had a decent day on that. And I had a decent day on this second or continuation of my original trade where I got out down here. So, not disappointing, but I'm just still trying to refine those goals. Anyway, bit of a rant and rave and a bit of a longer than I wanted video explaining my reasonings behind my trade. And again, just want to show you it's to the plan I did before the market. If market rallies, watch for potential reject at yesterday's highs, and also a psychological number. And I mentioned about the big supply number above. So having a plan in advance. So this plan was done at, it was 1 PM my time, and that would be 9 AM Eastern time. And I even discussed the plan in my pre-market video as well, at 9 AM. In fact, this plan was probably been, I was working on this plan before 9 AM. So I was aware of this move around about, I'll just be very quick now if you're still here, I appreciate that. I was probably planning this move around about here, and the market would have been around here probably when I was coming up with a plan, putting my levels in. Was at 9 o'clock, and it wasn't until 1 o'clock today when my plan was executed. So that's a big gap in between of patience and no waiting. So you know what? I'm proud of myself that I didn't take any trades in this time, and I was willing to walk away today with no trade, but I wasn't expecting to hit my target because it looked like it's just going sideways for a bit, pushing up, and then when it was going sideways here, I thought it was going to come down, but it hit my level, and my trade, my plan is my plan. If it gets that level, look for entry with confirmation. And I know I didn't use confirmation there, but I did do the if it didn't make a new high, so that's one of my confirmations, and it's in a 4308, 4800, 4803. I meant that's an area of lots of sellers on the level 2, so that's natural resistance. Higher than average volume as well up here as well, so we've got volume coming in, and it's a psychological number 4800. So lots of reasons why I should have taken it, not as many reasons why I should not have taken it, apart from the fact that I lost a friend today and I probably shouldn't have even taken it in the first place. I probably shouldn't have even been trading, but still, that's it. Thank you for watching.